The information provided in this video regarding automotive business management, cloud-based software systems, and digital shop infrastructure is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This content does not constitute professional, legal, financial, or technical advice. Implementation of software systems and business process changes involves inherent risks, including data migration issues and operational downtime. Every automotive repair facility is unique, and results may vary based on local market conditions and management execution. Viewers are advised to conduct their own due diligence and consult with qualified IT and business professionals before making significant capital investments or altering their operational workflows. Picture this. It is a Tuesday afternoon, 3 cars are currently sitting in your bays, and your head technician just realized the parts for the brake job on the F-150 never arrived. You go to check the paperwork order, but it is buried under a stack of grease-stained invoices on the front counter. Meanwhile, your phone is ringing off the hook with a customer demanding to know why their vehicle is not ready, and you realize you have no easy way to track down their specific service history without digging through a filing cabinet in the back room. This is the exact moment when most shop owners realize they are not running a business. They are surviving a daily crisis. The harsh reality is that the traditional, paper-based or local server automotive shop model is failing. Recent industry trends suggest that shops still relying on legacy systems are losing up to 20% of their potential labor hours every single week due to communication breakdowns and administrative friction. If you are still handing out physical clipboards to your technicians, you are essentially leaving thousands of dollars on the table every month. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the technological shift that is separating the thriving multi-location powerhouses from the independent shops that are struggling to keep the lights on. We are doing a deep dive into the architecture of cloud-based auto repair software and why this is no longer a luxury, but a survival requirement in a market where vehicle complexity is skyrocketing. Most shop owners view software as a digital version of a filing cabinet. That is a massive mistake. High-performance cloud software is actually a high-velocity communication engine. Think about the friction inherent in a standard oil change and inspection. In a legacy shop, the technician performs the inspection, writes his findings on a sheet of paper, and walks that paper to the service advisor. The service advisor then has to decipher the handwriting, look up the labor times in a separate guide, call the parts store to get pricing, and then finally call the customer. If the customer does not answer, the car sits in the bay, taking up space and generating zero revenue while the technician waits for an answer. When you move to a cloud-based ecosystem, that friction disappears. The moment the technician snaps a digital photo of a leaking water pump on their tablet, that image is instantly available to the service advisor and can be texted directly to the customer's smartphone. Historical trends in the U.S. automotive aftermarket show that digital vehicle inspections, or DVIs, can increase average repair order values by 30% or more. Why? Because seeing is believing. A customer might not trust a voice on the phone telling them they need a $400 repair, but they almost always trust a high-definition photo of a frayed serpentine belt. This transparency builds a level of trust that paper invoices simply cannot replicate. But it goes much deeper than just sending photos. We need to talk about the concept of the single source of truth. In an old-school shop, information is fragmented. Your parts inventory is in one place, your customer list is in another, and your financial reporting is likely in a desktop version of accounting software that does not talk to your shop management system. This creates data silos. When information is siloed, you cannot make informed decisions. You might think your shop is profitable because the bays are full, but without real-time cloud analytics, you might not realize that your effective labor rate is actually $10 lower than it needs to be to cover your overhead. Cloud software allows for a seamless integration between every moving part of your business. It connects your parts procurement directly to your estimating tool. When you add a part to an estimate, the software checks live inventory from your preferred local vendors, pulls your specific cost, applies your preset margins, and tells you exactly when that part can be delivered. This eliminates the 15-minute phone calls to parts counters that eat up hours of your service advisor's day. By automating these microtasks, you are effectively giving your staff back 2 to 3 hours of productive time every single shift. Furthermore, we have to address the elephant in the room: accessibility and security. For years, the gold standard was a local server kept in a dusty office. If that server crashed, your business stopped. If your shop caught fire or suffered a break-in, your entire history of customer records and financial data was gone forever. Cloud-based systems shift the burden of security and maintenance away from the shop owner and into the hands of enterprise-grade data centers. This means your data is backed up in real time across multiple locations. It also means you, as the owner, can see exactly what is happening in your shop from your living room, or even while you are on vacation. You can monitor technician efficiency, track daily sales goals, and approve parts purchases without needing to be physically present at the counter. This level of remote management is what allows successful shop owners to scale from one location to 3, 5, or 10. You cannot scale chaos. You can only scale systems. By the end of this masterclass series, you will understand exactly how to transition your workflow into a digital-first environment that prioritizes speed, accuracy, and customer experience. We are going to break down the specific features you need to look for, the pitfalls of data migration, and the exact step-by-step process for training a team that might be resistant to putting down the pen and picking up a tablet. The problem we are solving today is the ceiling on your growth. If you are stuck at a certain revenue level and feel like you cannot work any harder, it is because your current system has reached its maximum capacity. We are here to rebuild that foundation so your shop can handle more volume with less stress. Let's get into the technical specifics of why the cloud is fundamentally different from the software you might have bought 10 years ago. In the old days, you bought a license, installed it on one computer, and that was it. If you wanted an update, you had to wait for a disk in the mail or a massive download that might break your database. Cloud-based software, or software as a service, is constantly evolving. These companies are pushing updates every week, refining their interfaces based on feedback from thousands of shops across the country. You are essentially hiring a team of developers to constantly improve your business tools for a monthly subscription fee. This ensures that as vehicle technology changes, your management tools change with it. We are moving into an era of electric vehicles and complex ADAS calibrations. Your software needs to be able to pull OEM repair procedures and integrate with diagnostic tools in real time. A static, offline program simply cannot keep up with the pace of the modern automotive industry. This is the first step toward a more professional, more profitable, and more sustainable future for your repair shop. To understand the true weight of this transition, we need to look at the invisible leak in your shop's bucket: the high cost of manual data entry and human error. Imagine a shop owner named Mike who runs a busy 7-bay facility in Columbus, Ohio. It is 2026, and the average vehicle on the road is now 12 years old, packed with sophisticated sensors and complex electronics that require precise service intervals. Mike's shop is still using a legacy system that requires his service advisor, Sarah, to manually type in every VIN, every part number, and every customer detail. On a busy Tuesday, Sarah processes 15 cars. If she spends just 10 minutes per car on redundant data entry, retyping a customer's phone number from a paper slip or manually entering a 17-digit VIN, she has wasted 2.5 hours of her day. That is time she could have spent following up on declined estimates or building relationships with new fleet accounts. In Mike's scenario, the historical trends suggest that manual entry leads to a 1 in 10 error rate on part numbers. One wrong digit on a brake rotor part number means the wrong part arrives at 2 p.m., the technician's afternoon is derailed, and the customer's car occupies a lift overnight. Cloud-based software solves this through seamless API integrations and VIN decoding. When Mike's shop implements a cloud system, Sarah simply scans the VIN with a tablet. The software instantly pulls the year, make, model, engine code, and even the specific trim level. More importantly, it pulls the maintenance schedule based on that specific vehicle's mileage. This is not just a convenience, it is a revenue multiplier. Instead of Sarah guessing what the car needs, the software presents a data-driven list of recommended services based on the manufacturer's requirements for a vehicle with 80,000 miles in a 4-season climate like Ohio. Let's dive deeper into the mechanics of the digital vehicle inspection, or DVI, which is the heartbeat of a modern cloud ecosystem. In a traditional setup, a technician named Jason finds a leaking water pump. He tells Sarah, Sarah tells the customer, and the customer says they will think about it. The customer cannot see the leak, so they assume the shop is just looking for more money. Now let's look at the cloud-based outcome. Jason uses his tablet to take a 10-second video of the coolant crusting around the pump weep hole. He uses a digital red marker tool on the screen to circle the failure point. He attaches this to the digital inspection report and hits send. The customer receives a text message with a link. They open it while sitting in a meeting or at a coffee shop and see high-resolution evidence of the failure. Case studies from similar high-volume shops in the United States show that moving from verbal recommendations to visual DVI reports can lead to a potential increase in closing rates from 40% to over 70%. People do not buy what they do not understand, and the cloud makes the invisible visible. The power of the cloud also extends to the very bottom line of your financial health through real-time labor profit tracking. Many shop owners realize at the end of the month that they did not make as much as they thought they would. They look at their bank account and wonder where the money went. In a legacy system, you are looking at the past. In a cloud-based system, you are looking at the present. You can see a live dashboard showing the billed hours versus the actual hours worked by each technician in real time. If Jason is struggling with a complex diagnostic on a 2022 hybrid, Mike can see that Jason has already spent 4 hours on a 2-hour labor operation. Because the software is cloud-based, Mike can see this from his phone while he is out picking up parts. He can intervene immediately, offering Jason a technical resource or adjusting the customer's expectations, rather than finding out about the labor loss 3 days later when the invoice is closed. Beyond labor, let's talk about the nightmare of parts procurement. In the old world, a shop might call 3 different warehouses to find a specific alternator. Each call takes 5 minutes. That is 15 minutes of dead air. In 2026, cloud software integrates directly with the major parts players like Advance, AutoZone, and Worldpac, but it also hooks into specialized local distributors. With one click, the service advisor sees the price, the availability, and the estimated delivery time across every vendor simultaneously. The software can even be set up to automatically apply the shop-specific parts markup matrix. If the shop strategy is a 2.5 multiplier on parts under $50 and a 1.8 multiplier on parts over $500, the software does the math instantly. This eliminates the risk of an advisor accidentally giving a customer a discount that eats the shop's entire profit margin. Historical trends indicate that shops using automated parts ordering and digital matrices see a potential 5 to 8% lift in their overall parts gross profit. This happens because the software never forgets to add the shop supplies fee, never forgets to charge for a core, and never rounds down a price because the advisor felt bad for the customer. It creates a standardized, professional environment where the business logic is baked into the software, not left to the whims of whoever is standing at the front counter that day. Another critical layer is the customer experience and the concept of the frictionless transaction. In our current economy, people are used to the Amazon and Uber experience. They want updates in real time, they want to communicate via text, and they want to pay with their phones. A cloud-based shop management system allows for an automated communication loop. The software can send a text when the vehicle is checked in, another when the inspection is ready for review, and a final one when the work is complete. Most importantly, it can send a secure remote payment link. Imagine the convenience for a customer who is stuck at work. They can review the inspection, approve the work, and pay the invoice all from their smartphone. When they arrive at the shop at 5:30 p.m., they just grab their keys and go. This is the level of service that builds fierce brand loyalty in a competitive market. Now, consider the operational security of this data. In 2026, cybersecurity is a massive concern for small businesses. If your shop's local computer gets hit with ransomware, your entire history of customer credit card data, service records, and employee information could be held hostage. Cloud providers spend millions of dollars on high-level encryption and redundant backups that no independent shop could ever afford on their own. By moving to the cloud, you are offloading that massive liability to experts. Your data is not sitting on a hard drive under a desk. It is encrypted in a secure facility with multiple fail-safes. This means that even if your physical shop is hit by a natural disaster, you can open a laptop at a new location the next day and have your entire business history ready to go. The transition to cloud-based software is also about preparing for the future of the American workforce. The next generation of technicians, Gen Z and beyond, grew up with smartphones and tablets. If you ask a 22-year-old A-level technician to work in a shop where they have to use a pen and paper and share a single desktop computer in the back of the shop to look up torque specs, they are going to look for a job elsewhere. They want to work in a high-tech environment that matches their skills. A cloud-based shop is a recruitment tool. It shows potential hires that you are invested in the best tools, which suggests you are also invested in their success and professional growth. As we look at the broader landscape of the automotive industry, we see that the data gathered by these cloud systems is becoming the most valuable asset a shop owner has. But how do you actually take all this data and turn it into a marketing machine that keeps your bays full even during the slow season? How do you use the cloud to predict exactly when a customer will need their next set of tires before they even know it themselves? We are just scratching the surface of what the digital shift can do for your bottom line. In the next part, we are going to break down the specific math of the cloud transition, showing you how to calculate your return on investment down to the penny, and how to handle the one thing that stops most shops from moving forward: the fear of the initial setup. What happens when the internet goes down? How do you move 10 years of old data into a new system without losing a single customer? We are covering the transition mechanics next. The fear of a digital migration is the single biggest hurdle that keeps shop owners tethered to outdated technology. It is a valid concern. You have years of customer history, thousands of service records, and a delicate inventory list that represents your entire life's work. The thought of losing that data during a move to the cloud is enough to keep anyone up at night. However, in 2026, the process of data migration has evolved from a manual nightmare into a sophisticated, automated science. Modern cloud-based providers utilize specialized transition teams whose entire job is to map your old database fields to the new system. Imagine a shop owner named David in Phoenix, Arizona. David has been using a local server system since 2012. He has over 15,000 customer profiles and a decade of repair notes. When David decides to make the switch, he does not have to manually re-enter a single line. The cloud provider uses a secure data extraction tool that pulls his existing SQL or proprietary database files and cleans them. This cleaning process is crucial. It identifies duplicate entries, fixes formatting errors and phone numbers, and ensures that the vehicle history stays linked to the correct owner. Case studies of shops undergoing this transition show that while the preparation takes a few weeks, the actual cutover usually happens over a single weekend, resulting in zero operational downtime. The second most common fear is the stability of the internet itself. Many shop owners ask what happens if the fiber line is cut or the local service provider goes down. In 2026, this is a solved problem. First, the architecture of modern cloud software often includes an offline mode or a local cache that allows technicians to continue documenting their work, even if the connection flickers. Second, the solution is as simple as a failover system. Most modern shops now employ a dual WAN setup where, if the primary high-speed internet fails, the router automatically switches to a 5G cellular backup. Given that cloud-based repair software is data light, mostly text and compressed images, a standard 5G connection is more than enough to keep 5 technicians and 2 service advisors running at full speed. The risk of being offline is now statistically lower than the risk of a local server hardware failure, which historical trends show happens far more frequently and takes much longer to repair. Let us break down the specific math of the cloud transition. To see the true return on investment, we have to look beyond the monthly subscription fee. Many owners get sticker shock when they see a software bill of $300 or $500 a month compared to their old system which they owned outright. But let's look at the hidden costs of that old system. In David's Phoenix shop, he was paying an IT consultant $500 every time the local server needed an update or a fix. He was paying for a separate digital inspection tool, a separate text messaging service, and a separate marketing platform. When you consolidate these into a single cloud ecosystem, the total monthly spend often ends up being lower than the fragmented legacy costs. Furthermore, consider the potential outcomes of reclaimed labor hours. If a cloud system saves a service advisor just 1 hour a day by automating parts ordering and customer follow-ups, and that advisor is paid $30 an hour, that is $600 a month in found time. If that reclaimed hour is used to sell just 1 more hour of labor per day at a shop rate of $150, the software has paid for itself 5 times over in the first week. This is the difference between an expense and an investment. An expense costs you money. An investment makes you money. Now, let's talk about the implementation and the human element. You cannot simply buy software and expect it to fix a broken culture. The transition requires a step-by-step onboarding process. In David's case, he didn't just hand out tablets on a Monday morning. He started with a 2-week shadow period. During this time, the staff continued using the old system while the shop foreman practiced building 1 digital ticket per day. This allowed the team to find their rhythm and ask questions in a low-pressure environment. By the time the official launch day arrived, the fear of the unknown had been replaced by a genuine excitement for how much easier their jobs were about to become. A major part of this ease comes from the integration of labor guides and technical data directly into the workflow. In the old world, a technician would have to walk to a central terminal, log into an information provider like Mitchell 1 or AllData, print out the specs and walk back to the car. In a cloud-enriched shop, those torque specs, fluid capacities and wiring diagrams are embedded directly into the digital work order on the tablet in the technician's hand. This eliminates the 10-minute round trip to the computer station. If a technician does this 6 times a day, they have saved an hour. Over a year, that is 250 hours of pure productivity added back to the shop's capacity without hiring a single new person. The cloud also changes the way you handle parts returns and credits, which is a notorious profit killer in the automotive industry. When a part is returned in a legacy shop, it often sits in a box in the hallway, and the credit memo from the parts store might get lost in a pile of mail. In a cloud-based system, that part is tracked digitally from the moment it is marked for return. The software flags the credit as pending and alerts the shop manager if the credit hasn't been issued by the vendor within 48 hours. Historical trends show that shops lose between 1 and 3% of their total parts spent to unclaimed credits and shipping errors. For a shop doing $1 million a year, that is $10,000 to $30,000 in pure profit that simply vanishes. The cloud acts as a digital watchdog for your money. Another layer of the deep dive is the role of the cloud in multi-shop operations. If David wants to open a second location in Scottsdale, the cloud makes it seamless. He doesn't need a new server. He doesn't need a complicated VPN to connect the two stores. He simply adds a second location to his existing account. He can see the performance of both shops on a single screen. He can share a customer service history between locations. So if a customer gets their oil changed in Phoenix but has a breakdown in Scottsdale, the Scottsdale team knows exactly what was done to the vehicle 3 weeks ago. This level of continuity is what allows a small independent shop to compete with national franchises on a professional level. The final piece of the transition mechanics is the exit strategy for your data. A common worry is that the cloud provider will hold your data hostage if you ever want to leave. High-quality U.S. software providers in 2026 offer easy data export features. You own your data. You should always ensure that your service agreement specifies that you can download your customer and service records in a universal format like CSV or Excel at any time. This ensures that you are never trapped, and that the software provider stays motivated to earn your business every single month through high performance and constant innovation. By now, you should see that the cloud is not just a place to store photos. It is an integrated business operating system that guards your margins, empowers your employees, and protects your legacy. But what about the customers who aren't tech-savvy? How do you handle the older generation that still wants a paper invoice and a phone call? And more importantly, how do you use the advanced reporting in the cloud to identify exactly which of your customers are your most profitable, and which ones are actually costing you money to serve? We are diving into the psychology of the modern customer and the power of data-driven marketing in the next section. We will look at how to turn your database into a recurring revenue engine that functions even when you are asleep. The psychology of the modern customer in 2026 has shifted dramatically, and if your shop is still operating like it is 1995, you are essentially speaking a dead language to your most profitable demographic. We have to address the myth that customers find digital communication cold or impersonal. In reality, the most significant source of anxiety for a consumer at an auto repair shop is the unknown. They feel out of their element, they worry about being overcharged, and they hate the feeling of being trapped in a waiting room with no updates. Cloud-based software acts as a transparency engine that eliminates this anxiety by providing a continuous, real-time feedback loop. Imagine a customer named Robert in Charlotte, North Carolina. Robert is a 34-year-old project manager who values his time above all else. He drops his car off at a cloud-enabled shop at 8 a.m. By 9:15 a.m., he receives a text with a link to his digital inspection. He opens it on his laptop at work and sees a high-definition video of his brake pads measured at 3 millimeters against a green to red scale. He sees a photo of a leaking shock absorber with a clear explanation of why it affects his ride quality. Most importantly, he sees the price for each individual line item clearly broken down. Robert does not have to play phone tag with a service advisor. He clicks approve on the brakes, declines the shocks for now, and the technician is notified instantly on their tablet to start the work. This is the frictionless experience that historical trends show customers are now willing to pay a premium for. By removing the pressure of a live sales pitch over the phone, you are actually empowering the customer to make a buying decision on their own terms. When people feel in control, they spend more. Data from various case studies across the United States indicates that shops offering digital approval options see a potential increase in their average repair order value, because customers can research the findings at their own pace and feel confident in the necessity of the repair. But what about the customers who are not tech-savvy? Many shop owners worry about alienating the older generation. This is where the flexibility of the cloud shines. For a customer who prefers a traditional approach, the service advisor can simply print out the digital digital inspection report, complete with the photos and clear explanations, and go over it with them in person at the counter. The cloud does not replace the human touch. It enhances it by providing the advisor with better tools to educate the customer. You are moving from a salesperson to a consultant, and that shift in perceived role is massive for long-term retention. Now let us look at the goldmine sitting in your database. Most shops use their customer list like a phone book, only looking at it when someone calls in. Cloud software turns that list into a proactive marketing engine. In 2026, generalized mass mailers are becoming less effective and more expensive. Targeted, data-driven outreach is the new standard. Your cloud system knows exactly when Robert's car is due for its next cabin air filter, based on his driving habits and the date of his last visit. It knows that his tires were at 5/32 of an inch 3 months ago and are likely due for replacement now. Instead of sending a generic coupon to everyone in the zip code, the software can automatically send a personalized text to Robert. Robert, your tires were getting low during your March visit. We are running a special on the Michelin Defenders that fit your SUV this week. Would you like to schedule an appointment? This level of precision marketing has a much higher conversion rate than traditional methods because it addresses a specific, documented need. Historical trends in the automotive aftermarket show that personalized service reminders can increase customer return rates by over 15% annually. This is what we mean by a recurring revenue engine that works while you are asleep. The software is constantly scanning your records, identifying upcoming maintenance needs, and reaching out to customers through their preferred channels. You aren't just waiting for the phone to ring. You are filling your schedule weeks in advance with predictable, high-margin maintenance work. This levels out the feast or famine cycles that plague many independent shops. When you can predict your car count for the next 2 weeks with 80% accuracy, you can staff your shop more effectively and manage your parts inventory with surgical precision. Furthermore, we need to discuss the power of the customer portal. Many cloud-based systems offer a dedicated app or web interface where customers can see their entire service history for every vehicle in their household. In a society where people keep their cars longer, the average vehicle age in the US is now record high. Having a complete digital service history adds actual value to the vehicle. If Robert decides to sell his car, he can print out a professional, comprehensive report of every oil change, brake job, and inspection performed at your shop. This makes Robert more likely to stay loyal to you, as he wants to keep that service record complete and in one place. You are no longer just a guy who fixes cars. You are the curator of one of his most expensive assets. Let's dive into the analytics of customer profitability. Not every customer is a good customer. Some customers take up 3 times the amount of your service advisor's time, while complaining about every nickel on the bill. Legacy systems make it very hard to identify these outliers. Cloud software allows you to run reports on your top 20% of customers by gross profit and your bottom 10% by labor time consumed. You might find that a certain segment of your business is actually costing you money to service when you factor in the overhead of the administrative time they require. This data allows you to make strategic decisions about where to focus your marketing dollars and how to adjust your pricing for high-maintenance accounts. Consider the case of a shop in Denver that used cloud analytics to realize that their fleet accounts, while high in volume, were actually 10% less profitable than their retail customers due to slow payment terms and heavy administrative requirements for third-party billing. By identifying this, the shop owner was able to renegotiate their fleet contracts to include an administrative fee, immediately adding thousands of dollars to the bottom line without increasing the workload. Without the deep dive reporting of a cloud system, that leak would have remained invisible for years. The cloud also facilitates a modern approach to reputation management. We all know that Google reviews are the lifeblood of a local business in 2026. A cloud system can be set to automatically text a review linked to a customer 15 minutes after they pay their bill. Because the experience was frictionless and they received photos and updates throughout the day, they are far more likely to leave a 5-star review. Case studies show that automated review requests can triple the number of reviews a shop receives in a single year. A high volume of fresh, positive reviews is the most effective organic marketing you can have, and it costs virtually nothing once the system is in place. As we conclude this section on the customer and marketing, you can see how the software bridges the gap between the grease under the fingernails reality of a shop and the high-tech expectations of the modern consumer. But how do you take all this incoming data and use it to manage your team? How do you set performance benchmarks that are fair, transparent, and motivating for your technicians? And how do you protect your shop from the legal and liability risks of the modern world by using digital documentation? In the next part, we are going to look at the internal mechanics of team management and the legal shield that a cloud-based system provides. We will explore how to turn your shop culture into one of high performance and high accountability, using the data you are now collecting every single day. The true backbone of any elite automotive repair facility in 2026 is not just the equipment in the bays, but the culture of accountability and precision created by the data driving the shop. When you move to a cloud-based management system, you are essentially installing a digital nervous system that connects every technician and service advisor to a set of clear, objective performance metrics. This eliminates the guesswork, the favoritism, and the friction that often plagues independent shops. In a legacy environment, a shop owner might feel like a certain technician is slow, but without real-time data, that feeling is just an opinion. In a cloud environment, that opinion is replaced by hard data points like build hours versus actual hours, proficiency ratings, and comeback rates. Imagine a technician named Marcus working in a high-volume shop in Austin, Texas. Marcus is incredibly talented at diagnostics, but he often gets bogged down in administrative tasks or loses track of time while researching complex wiring diagrams. In a traditional shop, Marcus's productivity might look lower than a technician who only does brake jobs and oil changes because the traditional paper tracking does not account for the complexity of his work. However, with cloud-based software, the shop owner, Jennifer, can see exactly where Marcus is spending his time. The software tracks his punch-on and punch-off times for every individual labor operation. Jennifer can see that Marcus is highly efficient at the actual repair, but loses 30 minutes every time he has to wait for a parts quote. This allows Jennifer to adjust the workflow, perhaps assigning a dedicated parts coordinator to assist Marcus, which potentially increases the shop's overall throughput by 20% without Marcus having to work any faster. This level of granular tracking creates a culture of high performance because it rewards the right behaviors. Case studies from top-tier U.S. shops show that when technicians have access to their own real-time efficiency dashboards on their tablets, their productivity naturally tends to rise. It turns the workday into a transparent game where they can see exactly how many flagged hours they have produced by noon. They are no longer working in the dark. They are working toward a clear, daily goal. This transparency also settles disputes. If a technician feels they are being underpaid or given bad jobs, the shop owner can pull up a 3-month historical trend report showing the exact distribution of work and the resulting labor gross profit. Data-driven management is the ultimate equalizer in a high-stakes shop environment. Beyond the internal culture, we must address the legal shield that a cloud-based system provides for your business. In 2026, the liability landscape for auto repair has never been more complex. Consumer protection laws are stringent, and the cost of a single litigated mistake can be catastrophic for a small business. Paperwork orders are notoriously easy to lose and even easier to challenge in court. A handwritten note saying checked brakes is practically useless in a legal dispute. However, a cloud-based record is an immutable timeline of events. Consider an imagine-if scenario where a customer claims their vehicle was damaged while in your care, or worse, they claim a repair was performed incorrectly, leading to an accident. If you are using a cloud-based system, you have a digital trail that is time-stamped and geotagged. You have the high-resolution pre-service photos showing the existing scratches on the bumper when the car was dropped off. You have the technician's digital inspection notes, the photos of the parts installed, and the electronic signature of the customer approving the specific work performed. Most importantly, you have the record of the technician's digital torque wrench readings, if your shop utilizes integrated smart tools. When you present a comprehensive, digital documentation package to an insurance adjuster or a legal representative, the conversation changes instantly. You are no longer defending your word. You are presenting a professional, data-backed reality. Historical trends in the United States suggest that shops with robust digital documentation see a significant reduction in successful liability claims and a decrease in the cost of their garage keepers' insurance premiums over time. Insurance companies recognize that a shop using cloud-based tracking is a lower-risk operation because the likelihood of negligence going undocumented is near zero. This digital shield extends to your parts warranties as well. When a part fails prematurely, the cloud system allows you to instantly pull the original invoice, the date of installation, and the mileage at the time of service. This makes the warranty claim process with your vendor seamless and ensures you are getting the credits you are owed without digging through boxes of old invoices. Let's talk about the specific step-by-step process of using cloud data to conduct performance reviews. Instead of a vague annual meeting, a cloud-enabled shop owner conducts monthly data sessions. You look at 3 primary metrics: productivity, which is the hours worked versus the hours available; proficiency, which is the hours billed versus the hours worked; and the effective labor rate per technician. If you see a technician has high productivity but low proficiency, you know they are working hard but struggling with the technical aspects of the job. This identifies a training opportunity rather than a disciplinary problem. You can then invest in targeted specialized training for that technician, which historical trends show is the most effective way to retain talent in a competitive market. In the 2026 labor market, retaining your A-level technicians is more important than finding new customers. Technicians stay where they feel respected and where the systems allow them to do their best work without unnecessary headaches. By providing them with cloud-based tools that streamline their day, allowing them to order parts from the bay, view OEM procedures instantly, and communicate with the front desk via internal chat, you are creating an environment that the shop down the street with the greasy clipboards simply cannot match. You are building a professional infrastructure that makes your shop the employer of choice in your region. Furthermore, the cloud allows for a revolutionary approach to technician compensation. Many shops are moving toward a tiered flat rate system or a performance-based bonus structure that is calculated automatically by the software. This removes the administrative burden of manual payroll calculations and ensures that your top performers are rewarded accurately for the value they bring to the business. When the team sees that the most efficient, thorough, and careful technicians are the ones earning the highest bonuses, the entire shop's quality of work elevates. We must also consider the impact on your service advisors. The service advisor is often the most stressed person in the building, caught between a demanding customer and a busy shop floor. Cloud software acts as a pressure relief valve. By automating the follow-up texts, the appointment reminders, and the digital approvals, the software handles the repetitive, low-value tasks. This allows the advisor to focus on the high-value human interactions, explaining complex repairs, building rapport, and ensuring the customer feels valued. A less stressed advisor is a more effective salesperson and a better brand ambassador for your shop. As we move deeper into this masterclass, we have to look at how this internal efficiency and legal protection translate into the actual valuation of your business. If you ever decide to sell your shop or bring on a partner, what is your business actually worth? A shop with a filing cabinet full of paper is worth the value of its equipment and its real estate. A shop with 5 years of clean, cloud-based data, a high customer retention rate, and documented technical proficiency is a turnkey asset that commands a massive premium in the marketplace. But how do you prepare for that eventual exit? And how do you ensure that your cloud system is actually helping you build equity, not just processing transactions? In the next part, we are going to look at the financial engineering side of auto repair, focusing on inventory management, gross profit optimization, and the specific reports that will make your accountant and your bank fall in love with your business. We will see how the cloud turns a local garage into a scalable corporate entity. The transition from a neighborhood garage to a scalable corporate entity begins with a fundamental shift in how you view your inventory and your cash flow. In the old-school model, inventory management is often a game of guesswork. You walk into the back room, see a few cases of 5W30 and some assorted oil filters, and assume you are stocked. But in 2026, where specialized synthetic fluids and vehicle-specific filters are the norm, that visual check is a recipe for a frozen bay. If a car is up on the lift and you realize you are missing a specific high-performance air filter, your labor efficiency drops to 0 while you wait for a hotshot delivery. Cloud-based software treats your inventory like a high-frequency trading desk. Imagine a shop owner named Thomas in Nashville, Tennessee. Thomas used to carry $30,000 in standing inventory, much of it gathering dust because it was for car models that rarely visited his shop anymore. When he switched to a cloud system, the software began tracking his high-velocity items automatically. Based on the last 12 months of service data, the system calculated that he only needed to stock 12 specific SKU numbers for 70% of his jobs. By automating his reorder points, Thomas was able to reduce his sitting inventory by $10,000. That is $10,000 in liquid cash moved from a shelf in the back room directly back into his operating capital. This is the power of a just-in-time inventory strategy fueled by cloud analytics. The software monitors your usage patterns in real time. If you perform 10 brake jobs a week on Ford F-150s, the system ensures those specific pads and rotors are always in stock. If you haven't seen a specific part move in 90 days, the system flags it for return or tells you to stop ordering it. Historical trends in the U.S. automotive sector suggest that shops utilizing automated inventory replenishment can see a potential increase in their parts gross profit by minimizing obsolescence and capturing every available bulk purchase discount. Beyond physical parts, we must dive deep into the concept of the effective labor rate, or ELR. Most shop owners know their posted door rate. Let's say it is $160 an hour, but very few know their ELR. If your technician spends an hour diagnosing a complex electrical fault but you only bill the customer for 30 minutes because you feel bad, or if you provide a free check engine light scan that takes 20 minutes of a technician's time, your effective labor rate is actually much lower than your door rate. Cloud software tracks every single minute a technician is clocked into a job versus the amount actually billed. In Thomas's Nashville shop, his door rate was $160, but his cloud dashboard revealed his ELR was actually only $128. He was losing $32 for every single hour his shop was open. By identifying the specific service advisors who were over-discounting and the specific technicians who were struggling with time-heavy diagnostics, Thomas was able to implement a new labor policy. Within 4 months, his ELR rose to $152. In a shop doing 500 hours of labor a month, that $24 an hour difference adds $12,000 in pure profit to the bottom line every single month. That is the difference between a shop that is just getting by and a shop that can afford to invest in the latest ADAS calibration equipment. Now, let us look at the relationship between your cloud data and your financial institutions. Imagine if you want to take out a business loan to expand to a second location or purchase the building you are currently renting. If you walk into a bank with a shoebox of receipts and a messy spreadsheet, the loan officer sees a high-risk gamble. However, if you present a professional, cloud-generated profit and loss statement, a detailed inventory turnover report, and a 3-year trend analysis of your customer acquisition cost, you are speaking the language of a sophisticated business owner. Case studies show that shops with clean, verifiable digital records are significantly more likely to secure favorable interest rates and higher credit limits. You aren't just selling your ability to fix cars. You are selling the predictability of your cash flow. The cloud also streamlines the most painful part of the month for any shop owner: accounting. Traditionally, you have to manually export your data or worse, hand-deliver paper invoices to your accountant. Modern cloud management systems integrate directly with accounting platforms like QuickBooks Online or Xero. Every time a ticket is closed, the revenue, the parts cost, and the sales tax are synced automatically. This eliminates double entry errors and ensures your financial reports are accurate to the minute. You can see your real-time gross profit margin on every single job. If a job ends up with a 30% margin instead of your target of 60%, you can see it immediately and investigate why before it becomes a habit. Consider the role of the shop foreman or lead technician in this financial ecosystem. In a scalable shop, the foreman uses the cloud dashboard to manage the flow of work. They can see which bays are generating the most revenue and which technicians are currently underutilized. This allows for dynamic dispatching. If a high-margin engine swap is waiting and your most proficient engine tech just finished a small job, the foreman can route that big job instantly through the software. This maximizes the revenue potential of every square foot of your shop. Historical trends indicate that data-driven dispatching can increase total shop throughput by 15% without adding any new staff or equipment. We also need to discuss the concept of lifetime customer value, or LCV. In the legacy world, you look at a customer as a single transaction, today's oil change. In the cloud-based world, you look at that customer as a 10-year relationship. The software calculates the total amount Robert has spent with you since 2021. It shows you his average spend per visit and his frequency of visits. If you know that a customer like Robert is worth $15,000 over the next 5 years, you treat that $100 oil change with a different level of care. You might even decide to offer a complimentary shuttle service or a loaner car because you know the long-term ROI on that customer is massive. This data allows you to prioritize your best customers and ensure they never have a reason to look at the shop down the street. Inventory, labor margins, and customer lifetime value are the 3 pillars of a healthy automotive business. When these are managed through a centralized cloud system, the business becomes an asset that functions independently of the owner's constant physical presence. This is the true meaning of scalability. You are building a system that can be replicated, measured, and improved upon. It turns your daily grind into a strategic operation that builds actual wealth and equity. But even with the best financial data, There is one major challenge that 2026 presents to every shop owner: the rise of the connected vehicle. How do you integrate the data coming directly from the car's onboard computer into your shop management software? How do you handle the massive influx of data from electric vehicles and autonomous driving sensors? And perhaps most importantly, how do you protect your shop's reputation in an era where one bad digital experience can be broadcast to thousands of people in seconds? In the next part, we are going into the futuristic side of auto repair, looking at telematics, the Internet of Things in the Bay, and the advanced digital marketing strategies that will keep you ahead of the curve as the industry moves toward a high-tech, electrified future. We will look at how the cloud isn't just a tool for today, but your only bridge to tomorrow. The bridge to tomorrow is built on a foundation of telematics and the Internet of Things, or IoT, which are fundamentally changing how a vehicle communicates with a repair shop. In 2026, the car is no longer just a mechanical object. It is a mobile data center. Modern vehicles are equipped with thousands of sensors that monitor everything from tire pressure and oil life to the specific voltage drop in a hybrid battery pack. For a shop owner using legacy software, this data is invisible until the customer physically drives into the bay. But for a cloud-integrated shop, that data becomes a proactive diagnostic tool that allows you to fix the car before it even breaks down. Imagine a customer named Emily in Seattle, Washington. Emily drives a 2024 electric SUV. Her vehicle is connected to a cloud-based telematics system that integrates directly with her favorite local repair shop, owned by a technician named Sam. One morning, as Emily is driving to work, the vehicle's onboard computer detects a slight anomaly in the thermal management system for the battery. There is no dashboard warning light yet, but the data is there. Because Sam's shop uses an advanced cloud platform, his system receives a silent alert. The software automatically cross-references Emily's vehicle history, sees that she is due for a cabin filter anyway, and sends her a text. Emily, your SUV's diagnostic system just flagged a minor cooling efficiency issue. We can look at this while we swap your cabin filter this afternoon. We have an opening at 4 p.m. This is the shift from reactive repair to predictive maintenance. In this scenario, Sam has secured a job before Emily even knew she had a problem. Historical trends in the U.S. automotive industry show that shops utilizing telematics and remote diagnostics see a significant increase in customer loyalty because the shop is acting as a digital guardian for the vehicle. You are providing a level of service that was previously only available to elite fleet operators or through high-priced manufacturer subscriptions. By bringing this technology to the independent aftermarket through the cloud, you are effectively neutralizing the advantage held by the big-box dealerships. Let us look at the technical depth of IoT in the Bay. In 2026, even the tools your technicians use are becoming cloud-connected. Imagine if your torque wrenches, scan tools, and fluid exchange machines all talk to your shop management software. When a technician named Leo finishes torquing the lug nuts on a wheel bearing job, the smart wrench sends the exact foot-pound readings directly to the digital work order. This creates an indisputable record of quality control. If there is ever a question about the safety of a repair, you don't have to ask Leo if he remembered to torque the bolts. You can show the digital time-stamped proof. Case studies from high-end performance shops in California have shown that integrated smart tools can reduce rework and comebacks by as much as 15% by ensuring every specification is met and recorded automatically. Furthermore, we must address the specific challenges of the electric vehicle, or EV revolution. EVs require fewer oil changes, but they require much more sophisticated cooling system maintenance, tire management due to increased vehicle weight, and complex software updates. A cloud-based system allows your shop to stay connected to the latest OEM service bulletins for these specific models. In the old world, you might wait months for a printed manual to tell you how to service a new battery cooling loop. In the cloud, that information is pushed to your technicians' tablets the moment it is released. You are essentially future-proofing your staff's knowledge base. Data security in this connected environment is another critical layer. When you are pulling data directly from a customer's vehicle, you are handling highly sensitive information. In 2026, privacy laws like the CCPA in California and similar emerging regulations across the United States have strict requirements for how this data is stored and used. A reputable cloud-based software provider manages this compliance for you. They implement the encryption and the data sharing permissions that protect both the customer and your business. Trying to manage this level of data security on a local server or through manual spreadsheets is a massive legal liability that most shop owners are simply not equipped to handle. The cloud also enables a new form of digital marketing called geofencing and behavioral targeting. Imagine if you could send a targeted promotion for a wheel alignment specifically to customers who have driven over 5,000 miles since their last service and are currently driving near your shop. Cloud systems integrated with modern marketing stacks allow for this level of precision. You aren't wasting money on a billboard that 90% of people ignore. You are spending your marketing budget on the 10% of people who actually need your services right now. Historical trends suggest that this type of hyperlocal behavior-based marketing can have a return on investment 4 to 5 times higher than traditional print or radio advertising. Consider the operational impact of remote diagnostics on your shop scheduling. One of the biggest bottlenecks in any shop is the diagnostic phase. A car comes in on a hook, and it might take 2 hours just to figure out what is wrong before you can even order parts. With cloud-based telematics, you often have the diagnostic trouble codes or DTCs before the tow truck even arrives. This allows your service advisor to pre-order the likely parts and assign the job to the right technician in advance. Instead of a car sitting dead in a bay for half a day, it is diagnosed, the parts are waiting, and the repair starts within 30 minutes of arrival. This maximizes your bay utilization and ensures that your most expensive assets, your lifts and your technicians, are always generating revenue. The cloud also changes how you handle technical support. In 2026, if a technician gets stuck on a complex ADAS calibration, they don't have to wait for a mobile diagnostic van to show up next Tuesday. They can share their screen or a live video feed with a remote master technician through their cloud platform. This expert can see exactly what the scan tool is seeing in real time and guide your technician through the fix. This peer-to-peer support network, powered by the cloud, allows a smaller shop to handle complex repairs that would have previously been sent back to the dealer. You keep the labor, you keep the parts profit, and you keep the customer. As we move into the final stages of this masterclass, we have to look at the ultimate goal: the total integration of the shop, the car, and the customer into a single seamless ecosystem. We have seen how the cloud manages your money, your people, and your data. But how do you lead this change? How do you overcome the internal resistance from a team that has been doing things the same way for 30 years? And what are the emerging trends for 2027 and 2028 that you need to be preparing for right now? In the next part, we are going to focus on the leadership and change management required to actually pull this off. We will look at how to build a high-tech culture from the ground up, and how to ensure that your shop is not just surviving the digital shift, but leading it in your local market. We are moving from the technology itself to the people who use it. Building a high-tech culture is not about the software itself, but about the psychological shift of every person under your roof. In 2026, the greatest barrier to shop growth is not a lack of customers or even a lack of parts. It is the friction caused by outdated mindsets. When you introduce cloud-based software, you are not just asking your team to use a tablet, you are asking them to change how they perceive their own value. Historically, a technician's value was measured by the grease on their hands. In the modern era, their value is measured by the accuracy of their data and the efficiency of their workflow. Imagine a lead technician named Frank in a veteran shop in Indianapolis. Frank has been turning wrenches for 35 years. He can diagnose a misfire by ear and has a literal library of mechanical knowledge in his head. To Frank, the cloud-based tablet feels like an insult to his experience. He sees it as a tracking device or a toy that gets in the way of real work. If you, as the shop owner, simply drop a tablet on Frank's toolbox and walk away, the implementation will fail. Historical trends in change management suggest that top-down mandates without cultural buy-in lead to a 20% drop in productivity during the first 3 months of any software transition. The successful shop owner in 2026, like a shop owner named Sarah who runs a high-performance facility in Denver, approaches this differently. Sarah understands that Frank is her most valuable asset, but his knowledge is currently trapped in a silo. She presents the cloud system to Frank not as a replacement for his brain, but as a megaphone for his expertise. She shows Frank how he can record a video of a worn suspension bushing, and how that video will be used to educate the customer. When Frank sees that his digital inspections result in customers saying yes to 4-figure repairs without a single argument, his perspective shifts. He realizes the technology is a tool that validates his professional opinion. This is the first step in the Leadership Masterclass. Connecting the technology to the individual's win. For the technician, the win is fewer interruptions and more flagged hours. For the service advisor, the win is less time spent on the phone and more time spent closing high-margin jobs. For the owner, the win is a business that runs predictably whether they are in the building or not. When everyone understands their specific win, the culture begins to heal. Case studies from shops across the United States indicate that a phased rollout, where a shop champion is selected to master the software first and then mentor others, leads to a much higher long-term adoption rate than a forced overnight cutover. Let's look at the step-by-step process of leading through the data. Once the software is in place, the leadership role shifts from micromanaging tasks to managing by exception. In 2026, you don't need to walk around the shop to see who is working. Your cloud dashboard tells you which bays are active, which jobs are stalled, and which technicians are exceeding their proficiency targets. However, the pitfall is using this data as a hammer. If you only call a meeting when the numbers are down, your team will learn to fear and resent the data. Sarah in Denver uses what she calls the data-first huddle. Every Tuesday morning, she pulls up the shop's real-time cloud analytics on a large screen in the break room. She doesn't use it to call people out. She uses it to identify bottlenecks. If the shop's average parts margin is down, they discuss why. Maybe a local vendor changed their pricing, and the software's matrix needs an adjustment. If a technician's proficiency is lagging, they don't discuss his work ethic. They discuss the technical challenges he faced on his last 3 jobs. This transforms the data from a surveillance tool into a collaborative problem-solving tool. This is how you build a culture of high performance. You make the data everyone's responsibility, not just the owner's burden. Furthermore, we must address the role of transparency and team retention. The modern technician, especially those in the younger demographic, wants to know exactly where they stand. They are tired of the old-school favoritism where the owner's nephew gets all the high-paying gravy jobs while everyone else struggles with the difficult diagnostics. Cloud-based dispatching removes this bias. The software can be set to distribute work based on skill level and current workload, ensuring a fair distribution of labor hours. When the team sees that the system is objective, morale improves. Historical trends in the automotive labor market show that transparency in work distribution and pay calculations is one of the top 3 factors in technician job satisfaction. Another critical leadership element is the digital feedback loop with your customers. In 2026, your shop's online reputation is a direct reflection of your internal culture. A cloud system that automatically requests reviews and tracks customer satisfaction scores, or CSAT, provides your team with immediate positive reinforcement. When a technician sees a 5-star Google review that specifically mentions the clear photos they took during the inspection, it reinforces the value of their digital work. Sarah in Denver actually ties a small monthly bonus to the number of positive reviews that mention a technician or advisor by name. This aligns the team's personal incentives with the shop's brand growth. The leadership challenge also extends to managing the influx of information. In a cloud-enabled shop, you have more data than ever before. You have labor reports, parts reports, marketing ROI, and customer retention stats. A common mistake for shop owners is trying to track everything at once. This leads to analysis paralysis. Professional leadership requires focusing on the 3 to 5 key performance indicators, or KPIs, that actually move the needle for your specific business goals. If your goal is growth, you focus on new customer acquisition and close rates. If your goal is profitability, you focus on effective labor rate and parts margins. The cloud gives you the vision, but your leadership provides the focus. Consider an imagine-if scenario where you are looking to step back from the daily operations. In a legacy shop, your departure creates a vacuum of information. No one knows where the invoices are, how to price a complex job, or how to handle a disgruntled customer. In a cloud-managed shop, the processes are documented and the data is accessible. You can promote a shop manager and give them a clear set of metrics to hit. You can monitor their progress from a distance, intervening only when the data shows a deviation from the standard. This is how you move from being a shop owner to a business investor. You are no longer trading your time for money. You are managing a system that generates value. As we approach the final stages of this deep dive, we have to look at the competitive landscape of 2027 and beyond. The shops that failed to make this cultural and technological shift now will find themselves unable to compete for talent or customers in just a few years. But what are the final steps to ensure your investment pays off? How do you stay ahead of the next wave of innovation? And what are the specific mistakes you must avoid during the final stages of your digital transformation? In the next part, we are going to look at the advanced optimization of your cloud ecosystem. We will explore the hidden features of modern software that most shops never use, and how to squeeze every last drop of profit out of your digital workflow. We are moving toward the master level of shop management. To reach the master level of shop management in 2026, you must stop treating your software as a digital notepad and start treating it as a high-precision optimization engine. Most shop owners utilize perhaps 30% of their cloud software's capabilities. They use it to write tickets, look up parts, and process payments. But the hidden treasures that separate the top 1% of shops from the rest of the industry lie in the advanced automation and the deep-level data mining that happens in the background. If you are not using these features, you are essentially driving a Ferrari in first gear. Imagine a shop owner named Kevin in Orlando, Florida. Kevin's shop is doing well, but he feels like his team is constantly playing catch-up. He decides to dive into the automation features of his cloud platform. The first thing he implements is automated parts price updating. In a world where inflation and supply chain shifts can change the cost of a brake rotor overnight, Kevin's old method of manually checking prices was leaking thousands of dollars in margin. By enabling a real-time price feed from his primary vendors, the software now automatically adjusts his retail price based on his preset gross profit goals the second the vendor's cost changes. Case studies from high-volume Florida shops show that this single automation can recover a potential 3 to 5% in lost parts margin that usually vanishes during price fluctuations. But optimization goes much deeper than just pricing. Let us talk about the concept of the smart schedule. In a typical shop, the calendar is just a list of names and times. In a master-level cloud shop, the schedule is an intelligent load balancer. Kevin's software knows the skill level of every technician. It knows that Marcus is an A-level diagnostic tech who shouldn't be doing oil changes, and that Tyler is a C-level apprentice who needs to gain speed on basic maintenance. When a customer tries to book an appointment online for a complex drivability issue, the software looks at the calendar and only offers time slots where Marcus is available. It even factors in the historically recorded average repair time for that specific year, make, and model in Kevin's shop, not just a generic labor guide. This prevents the nightmare scenario of overbooking your lead tech, while your apprentices stand around with nothing to do. Now, consider the power of the automated decline services funnel. This is where most shops leave an absolute fortune on the table. In a legacy shop, when a customer declines a set of tires or a timing belt, that information is buried in a paper folder and forgotten. In Kevin's optimized cloud workflow, the moment a service is marked as declined, a digital clock starts. The software is programmed to send a polite, educational follow-up text 14 days later. Then, 30 days later, it sends a specific promotion for that declined service. Historical trends in the U.S. automotive aftermarket suggest that a structured, automated follow-up process for declined work can recapture up to 20% of that lost revenue within 60 days. You aren't being pushy. You are being professional and persistent in a way that a busy human service advisor simply cannot be. We must also explore the world of advanced inventory optimization through predictive stocking. Most shops stock based on what they used last month. Master-level shops stock based on what they are likely to use next month. By analyzing the service history of Kevin's active customer base, the cloud software predicts that 22 vehicles are due for their 60,000-mile service in the next 30 days. It knows exactly which spark plugs, filters, and fluids those vehicles require. Kevin can then order those parts in a single bulk shipment at a better discount, ensuring the parts are on the shelf before the customer even calls to book the appointment. This reduces his daily hotshot deliveries and increases his bay efficiency because the technician never has to wait for a parts truck. Let's look at the financial engineering of the shop's debt and cash flow. A master-level shop owner uses their cloud reports to manage their vendor relationships with surgical precision. Kevin can run a report showing exactly how much he spent with each parts vendor over the last quarter. Armed with this data, he can go to his primary supplier and negotiate a better rebate structure or a lower cost-plus percentage. He isn't asking for a better deal. He is proving why he deserves one with hard data. Furthermore, the cloud system tracks his core returns with a level of accuracy that ensures he never loses a $50 core charge again. For a shop doing 50 starters and alternators a month, that is $2,500 in potential losses that the cloud prevents through simple, automated tracking. Another hidden feature of modern cloud software is the integration with digital payment financing. In 2026, the average repair order cost is rising as vehicle technology becomes more expensive. If a customer is hit with a surprise $3,000 repair bill, they might be forced to decline the work. An optimized shop has financing options integrated directly into the digital estimate. When the customer opens the link to their DVI, they see an option to split the payment into 4 interest-free installments or apply for a 6-month promotional financing plan. Case studies show that shops offering integrated point-of-sale financing see a potential increase in large job approval rates by over 25%. You are making it easier for the customer to say yes, which is the ultimate goal of any business system. We also have to discuss the use of internal communication tools to eliminate the walkback. In a standard shop, the service advisor walks into the shop 10 to 15 times a day to ask a technician a question. Each time they do this, they interrupt the technician's flow, which research shows takes an average of 20 minutes to fully recover. That is a massive productivity killer. In Kevin's shop, they use the integrated chat feature in the cloud software. The advisor sends a quick message to the technician's tablet. The technician can answer with a voice-to-text reply without even putting down their tools. This keeps the advisor at the front counter where they can sell, and the technician in the bay where they can produce. It is a small change that yields a massive compound return over the course of a year. The master-level shop owner also utilizes the cloud for advanced labor rate analysis. Most shops have one labor rate for everything. A high-performance shop uses a tiered labor rate based on the complexity of the work. You might have a maintenance rate of $140, a mechanical repair rate of $175, and a diagnostic/programming rate of $225. The cloud software automatically applies the correct rate based on the labor operation selected. This ensures you are being compensated fairly for the specialized knowledge and expensive equipment required for modern diagnostics, while remaining competitive on basic maintenance. Finally, we must look at the role of the shop owner's dashboard as a predictive tool for the future. Kevin doesn't just look at what happened last month. He looks at his trailing 12-month averages to identify long-term trends. Is his customer acquisition cost rising? Is his technician efficiency dipping every summer? By spotting these patterns early, he can make adjustments before they become crises. This is the difference between being a reactive firefighter and a proactive CEO. You are using the cloud as a crystal ball that allows you to see the financial health of your business months in advance. As we conclude this part of the masterclass, you have the tools, the data, and the mindset of a high-performance shop owner. But how do you tie it all together into a final vision? How do you prepare your shop for the ultimate transition? Whether that is expanding into a regional empire or preparing for a high-value exit that funds your retirement. In the final part of this series, we are going to look at the big picture. We will discuss the final 5% of optimization that creates true wealth, the emerging technologies of 2027, and the final checklist every shop owner needs to ensure their cloud transition is a lifelong success. We are crossing the finish line together next. The final 5% of optimization is where a business stops being a job for the owner and starts being a wealth-generating engine. In 2026, the difference between a shop that survives and a shop that dominates is the ability to use cloud data to predict the future, rather than just record the past. True wealth in the automotive aftermarket is built on 2 things: scalability and the ultimate valuation of the business. If you are a shop owner named Alex in San Diego, California, and you want to retire in 5 years, you are not just selling your lifts and your customer list. You are selling a documented, high-efficiency system. Imagine a potential buyer looking at 2 shops in the same zip code. Shop A has paper records, a local server that crashes once a month, and an owner who has to be there every day to tell everyone what to do. Shop B, owned by Alex, uses a fully integrated cloud ecosystem. Alex can pull up a 3-year report showing a steady increase in average repair order value from $450 to $780. He can show a technician proficiency rating that stays above 95% across all 7 bays. He can prove that 80% of his customers return within 6 months because of his automated follow-up system. Historical trends in the United States show that businesses with this level of transparent, digital documentation can command a 20 to 40% higher sale price than those without it. This brings us to the emerging technologies of 2027 and 2028 that you must be preparing for today. We are entering the era of artificial intelligence-driven diagnostics integrated directly into your shop management software. Imagine if your cloud system could look at a diagnostic trouble code, cross-reference it with 3 million similar cases across the country, and tell your technician exactly which sensor is likely to be the culprit and what the most probable labor time will be. This is not science fiction. This is the logical next step of the cloud data we are collecting right now. By having your shop in the cloud today, you are laying the tracks for these AI tools to plug in tomorrow. If you stay on a legacy system, you will be locked out of this productivity explosion. Let us dive into the final checklist for a lifelong successful cloud transition. Step 1 is the continuous audit of your data. A cloud system is only as good as the information you put into it. Alex in San Diego conducts a monthly data scrub. He ensures his service advisors are capturing an email address and a mobile phone number for every single customer. He checks that his technicians are actually attaching photos to at least 80% of their digital inspections. This data hygiene is what ensures his marketing funnel stays full. If you have 10,000 customers in your database but only 2,000 have valid mobile numbers, you are losing 80% of your marketing power. Step 2 of the checklist is the integration of your vendor ecosystem. In 2026, your shop management software should be talking to your bank, your parts suppliers, your tire distributors, and your accounting software. If you are manually moving data from one screen to another, you are failing to optimize. The goal is a zero-entry environment where information flows seamlessly between platforms. This eliminates the risk of human error and ensures your financial reports are accurate down to the penny. Case studies of multi-location shops show that this level of integration can reduce administrative overhead costs by up to 15% annually. Step 3 is the commitment to ongoing training. Technology moves fast, and your team needs to stay sharp. The master-level shop owner allocates a specific budget for software training every year. Many cloud providers offer advanced certifications for service advisors and technicians. By making your team experts in the software, you are empowering them to find new ways to be efficient. You might find a technician who discovers a way to use the digital inspection tool to document pre-existing body damage more effectively, saving the shop from a $1,000 liability claim later. Step 4 is the focus on the customer's digital journey. In the next 24 months, the way people buy auto repair will shift even further toward a mobile-first experience. Your shop needs to be ready for voice-activated appointment booking and augmented reality repair previews. Imagine if a customer could point their phone at their own car and see a digital overlay of where their leaking water pump is located, based on the photos your technician took earlier that morning. This level of engagement creates a bond with the customer that no price-cutting competitor can break. Step 5 is the evaluation of your labor rate against your local market data. Cloud software allows you to see how your pricing compares to other shops in your specific region. You don't want to be the cheapest shop in town. You want to be the most professional. By using data to justify a higher labor rate, backed by high-definition inspections and a nationwide warranty tracked in the cloud, you can command the margins necessary to pay your technicians the top-tier wages they deserve. This is how you solve the technician shortage in your own shop. You become the most profitable and professional destination for talent. As we look at the big picture, remember that the cloud is not a destination, it is a vehicle. It is the vehicle that takes you from being a mechanic to being a CEO. It is the tool that protects your family's legacy and ensures that your shop can compete with the massive consolidators and dealership groups that are currently spending millions on their own technology. You don't need $1 million budget. You just need the right cloud partner and a commitment to the process. The potential outcomes for those who embrace this change are massive. Historical trends suggest that the independent shops that survive the next decade will be larger, more profitable, and more technologically advanced than anything we have seen in the past 50 years of the automotive industry. We are seeing a consolidation of the market where the bottom 30% of shops, those refusing to adapt, are closing their doors, while the top 10% are doubling their revenue. You have the choice right now to decide which group you want to be in. The final thought I want to leave you with is about the speed of implementation. The best time to move to the cloud was 3 years ago. The second best time is today. Every day you wait is a day you are losing data, losing margin, and losing the competitive edge. Start by demoing 3 different platforms. Ask about their data migration process. Talk to other shop owners who have made the switch. Don't look for the cheapest option. Look for the partner that will grow with you over the next decade. This deep dive masterclass was designed to give you the blueprint, but the execution is up to you. You now understand the math of the effective labor rate, the psychology of the digital customer, the shield of digital documentation, and the power of automated marketing. You have the checklist for a successful transition and the vision of what 2027 looks like. The question is no longer why you need cloud-based software. The question is how fast can you get started? Your journey into the future of auto repair does not end here. We have covered the infrastructure of the shop, but what about the infrastructure of your own mind? How do you stay motivated as a leader when the industry is changing this fast? And how do you identify the specific red flags in your business before they show up on your profit and loss statement? We are continuing this conversation in our next series on high-performance leadership for the modern shop owner. We are going to look at the daily habits of the most successful automotive entrepreneurs in the United States and how they manage stress, people, and growth in a high-tech world. Keep your eyes on the data, keep your team focused on the win, and I will see you in the next masterclass.